Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Malts and Meeples and our finale of ISS Vanguard. Now, this is definitely not the whole game. I barely started to scratch the surface on this, but this will be 10 different streams to really give you an idea about how this game works. And I mean, I could do more, but I also want to give people a chance themselves to explore what the game has to offer. So we're going to be wrapping up here next week. Not sure what I'm going to be jumping into quite yet. Most likely ISS Vanguard, but that might not be next week. That might be a week or two down the line, just depending on what game and how much time I have to learn a new game. This weekend I'm going on most of Saturday to a board game swap, flea market, whatever you want to call it, running a table there, selling off a number of my games. A number meaning like I'm probably selling 40, I'll still have 400. So, not that many. But that's going to take a bunch of time. I just need to make sure I find time to learn the rules to whatever campaign game that might be, which is why I'm thinking potentially it might be a little bit further out. Give myself a chance to learn the rules and then dive into it. But that's neither here nor there. That might not even be next week. Right now, it's time to wrap up with ISS Vanguard. So let's get down to the table. And I forgot to mention the beer. We have a drumroll hazy pale ale from Odell. We're definitely in the give me a beer season weather here in Minnesota. It's around 90, so we can return this planet card. Landing cards, I'll put it in here. And I'm going to have to sort everything back out before I'm done, or once I'm done, but that might be a future me problem. Let's drag all this down here and come to the book. So we cleaned up the planet board. Okay, that's launching. We began our exploration. There wasn't any. And so we're coming back. There's really nothing to do. We dock. And basically it tells us grab our crew and grab available crew members. And then we're going to continue here. We can't promote the crew. Can't build the success pool because we didn't have one. Can't get more dice. There aren't any discoveries to unload. Here, this is kind of nice. Take both of these down. I could spend crew members as therapists. But I'm not going to. Oh, you even have another injured one over here. Had a lot of moderate injuries left there. Thus far, we've avoided death. We hit the save point, but we're not saving here. I just cut my fingernails, so this is fun to navigate. So we got our waiting. We don't have any of these. We're not resuming a saved game. So we come over here. The big things are we have high morale. So we have 4 of these. And 4 energy. Let's verify we don't have anything more available to us now, because we might. Well, this is just reinforced hull. I don't know I have that one there. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I should have put it here just so I know where stuff's at. Yeah. Then we deal with our situation. Either way, it's getting shuffled into possible situations with our homesick crew. I mean, that makes sense. It's been a little while. Our situation level is 2. And we have homesick crew again. And claustrophobia. Trying to figure out the best spot to set this down here. And I want to make sure that my camera is still working. If you watched Monday's stream, it had some issues. Not the main camera overhead here, but the one on me. I restarted the computer, seems to have fixed that issue. But now we continue. And you can see, I mean, it might not be the most obvious, but the faster we've gone, or the more times we've gone through this phase, I can now go faster. I need to look at these to remember what order to do them in. So like you install, generate, you check your situations, get new situations, prepare the planetary scanner. Oh yeah, maybe we skipped. Well, we'll ignore that piece because we're going to go up here. The star map, I guess, yeah, preparing the planetary scanner probably just means empty that out. So we open it up to where we're at, and we're going to spend too much here. Iota Pegasi A. Let's start there. Oh, we can't. Let's go Iota Pegasi B, mineral rich asteroid belt. That's going to cost 3. Or do I want to do S/Iota Pegasi? C1. These 2 moons are welded together with the north. Like, yeah, let's go there. That sounds cooler. And then I'll prepare to land on the planet again. I still won't be able to, but
Iota Pegasi C, Twin Moons Exploration Report. We landed on the surface near the colossal structure that led toward the other moon. The ground is cracked. The cracks get deeper and more jagged the closer they are to the anchoring area. We are surrounded by ruins. The first thing we did was to search for any flora or fauna, but there's not a single trace of organic matter. We set up a makeshift outpost outside the lander and awaited further orders.
I guess our option here. So we have two options here. I can examine. I wish those were buttons instead of drag. That's annoying. Examine the ruined buildings or examine the bridge. No, let's do the ruined buildings.
Iota Pegasi C. Twin Moons Exploration Report. The ruins are empty. We find only crumbled walls and roofs. Everything is made of concrete. Regolith mixed with artificial polymers. However, we encountered something interesting. One device was most likely made by a different species, as its technology and aesthetics look vastly different from everything else here. We may try to extract it, but it will take much time and effort.
Discard one of these guys to do an additional effect. Yes, please. E13. Mobile Containment System. When you gain a discovery, you may spend a die to gain 2 leads of the same type. Wow, so that really allows you to get discoveries quickly. And considering some of the rank ups I've had have been about discoveries, it's not a bad one to have. So not much else to do here. I could fly. Actually, let's fly. Fly all the way to page 8 here. And I can now potentially go down to a planet if I want. I'm not even going to bother doing that, but we have a few things here. An asteroid belt, MP212 Mermaid. Researching the strange spectrum of this star may give us insight into its systems. Interesting. So that'd be one of those things that'd be nice to have a little bit more energy. I would have needed 5 anyways, but it probably is going to give you some benefit when going down to the planet. But we're going to continue here, and we only have now, well, we have no energy left. We have 3. You know what? I'm going to start by going to the situation room on page 17. I have not upgraded my hangar much yet. Apply the when solved effect of one situation card above the ship book. If an effect requires a choice to be made, the security section player makes that choice. So, this one, SO1, I'm going to put it back in the future ones here. I don't know why I have a cough. I have not had it all day. And then claustrophobia. It's a lower morale effect, which I really don't want to do that. So let's spend either a compass or this little probe symbol. A couple of those probe symbols. I'm going to keep out Abby. She is the higher ranked crew member, so let's not yet use her. That is an interesting aspect to this game. How did I do this again? I swear. keep on putting my possible situations in the wrong spot. Like, I could see that being an interesting thing for the game, because you want to be able to rank up. It takes more effort to rank up from 2 to 3, as you would expect, than 1 to 2. But when you are at a higher level, you can keep more cards. Which, I mean, that's nice. So we have the situations under control. I could research, do production, or go to the barracks. I'm not going to go to the barracks. Let's just do research. So first, install research projects. Let's pick this one. So cost 2 mineral and 1 alien tech. Cost of that one is free. And that one is 1 microorganism. So what we need to find here are discoveries, because I could 2 mineral and an alien tech. So I could do this one. I can't do this one because I don't have the right thing. You know what? Let's spend it, since this is going to be our last session. Oh, yeah, I want to spend for sure on this one. Improved landers, production projects. Some worlds we are to visit might prove too much for our old designs. We developed some new ship designs to tackle them. Take the following cards from the production projects into the awaiting envelope. I'm glad I went the order I did. 16 and 17. Dragonfly and Fostlog. So production projects. This one is completed. That is a research project. RO8. Drop that back in there. And now I have the ability, if I wanted to boost which I would need a computer and genes. I do not have the gene symbol to get the free one. I don't have what I need to be able to take care of that one. So, time to continue here and see what's going to happen. As we flip back here to go to the production complex over here. Ready for production. Install production upgrades, don't have any. Progress ones. Biome suits. Move the following cards from the unavailable equipment to the armory. 4 of 19, 20, and 21. And take the following project, C13, and put it in the awaiting envelope. I'm not going to do that. I do want to look at these guys. So we have a mobility suit when traveling from sectors with certain terrain types. Add a die to your travel die action and ignore one, lose a die on the path. You may carry only one suit. That makes sense. Roll one injury die less in sectors with certain symbols. Protective. When you roll a danger die in a sector with those symbols, you may spend 2 cards to ignore that die roll. Interesting. I'm just going to put those back into the equipment. Again, I like to see what that is, show that off for you, but helps me keep it sorted so I have less sorting to do later. And then we get, like I said, C13. You can start a new project. Dragonfly Lander. Can we get that lander out of there? So I need computer or science. So 1, 2, 3. Crew, you go take a quick rest because that is done. So the 2 things we get are not discoveries. Commander mod. 813. After step 1 of the landing procedure, progress the landing track 1 space to the right. So basically you can speed up your landing process. And we now have the Dragonfly. You can damage these ships. So the ship we have right now has, I believe this is defense, so 2 defense, 1 mobility, and 2 shield, or something like that. This one doesn't have any defense, but has the much better mobility in shield. Or at least that's what I'm calling them. Plus, can carry more items and the same number of like rovers or things like that. Supply level starts and has room for 1 structural module and 1 utility module, and then max discoveries is 4. But this is where you start, and so you can get to the point where you can land quite quickly. So especially with this additional boosters, you potentially just need to succeed once to land. No, I'm gonna just keep on moving here. Lander number 2. I'm gonna put it in here so you can see some of the comparisons. It's not a major upgrade, but definitely is a little bit of one. Fewer discoveries can hold than the Space Ranger. So if you think you're going to go to a planet with a lot of discoveries, you probably stick with your basic ship. Production, let's get those cards back into position. The nice thing is, like, even though I have seen some of these, I'm not going to remember for like the next time I play. I'm not going to remember everything I get from specific things. So this will probably be actually a fairly short stream here, because now we're back to mission launch procedures. And it is certainly possible I can launch down to that planet, but I don't think I'm going to, mainly because the amount of time it takes to set up a new planet is a chunk of time. And I have a certain number of things that I can do. Preparing the away team, researching said planet. Oh, excuse me. I don't even know that I would have energy to maybe research the planet all that much. So I just kind of be going in blind. Which is fine. I feel like that's something that you're going to want to do from time to time. So instead, let's spend a few minutes just wrapping up talking about ISS Vanguard. So I've had a lot of fun playing this. It's interesting because for me, there's a game I want to compare it to, which is going to be Stars of Ikarios, because they're both really big box space-based games. But it's hard to do a fair comparison on those two, because there are elements certainly that can feel not necessarily similar, but like they try and do the same thing. You have planetary exploration, but whereas this is a whole bunch of like dice manipulation, kind of dealing with stuff to try and survive. Stars of Ikarios, you're doing a whole lot more exploration in terms of like interaction. Here you interact with the planet. We haven't come across any alien life forms or life forms to interact with yet. We've come across monsters, but not interactable ones. So that feels different. And here you kind of have an idea of your planet. You have a few things set up on there, but not a ton. And you're kind of going big areas. Whereas Stars of Ikarios, you're looking at much smaller areas. Like you're navigating around a city and you can create a massive map, interacting with people, things like that. So that is a big difference as well. But probably the bigger difference is kind of how they handle space. With ISS Vanguard, obviously we have this kind of ship book. You're maintaining and managing the crew on the ship. A lot of that's because you're in a remote area. You don't have anything or anyone to interact with otherwise. So Stars of Ikarios, since you are going down to planets, interacting with people, things like that, you end up spending your time on planets interacting with things, and then large chunks of story where you make some decisions. Versus there, the planetary side of things is the very tactical, like dice placement game where you're trying to figure out how to take out the enemy ships. And it's not like I think that actually, that tactical combat there in some ways matches more with the space exploration on ISS Vanguard. In some ways. Because you're spending dice and you're trying to really maintain what you're doing and figure out the optimal way to spend your dice. You definitely do that down on the planets in ISS Vanguard as well. And I think there's a major difference in how the story is being told as well. And that again comes from the type of game. Here in ISS Vanguard, we are exploring something that is completely unknown to us. In Stars of Ikarios, you know who the bad guys are pretty quickly. You know the planetary systems you're going to and the different factions you are dealing with there. Whereas here, everything is completely brand new. So, while they both are big box space games, they definitely scratch like a different itch of what you might want to be doing. If you really want that tactical and like story heavy game, Stars of Ikarios is going to offer more of that, like way more story. But ISS Vanguard, it's going to offer instead more of a puzzle or a mystery to what's going on, and more sense of like true exploration. Like, you definitely explore in Stars of Ikarios, but theoretically you're, or somebody you're with, knows that area better. Here, everybody is from Earth in a completely wild, different part of our universe. And so that becomes the story. But either way, I really enjoy both of these, and I think this one has a lot going for it as well. If you read my article as to that I did comparing both of them, I do think I like Stars of Ikarios a little bit better, but that's because I think it jives a little bit more with what I sometimes like in games. The tactical puzzle of that combat is phenomenal. Here, I feel like it's a little, I don't know, harder to... What did I pick up off the floor? Oh, I picked up a supply from Arkham Horror, the living card game. But here, I feel like it's really more... Yeah, it's just a different type of puzzle to it. And I think with streaming and stuff like that, I do think Stars of Ikarios makes a better solo streaming experience. Obviously, I have to filter my experience of it through the fact I am streaming. But I think ISS Vanguard, with kind of that sense of discovery and exploration and the hidden narrative a little bit more, probably works better with a group versus Stars of Ikarios, which gives you so much story. ISS Vanguard, you need to bring a little bit more of your own story, your own conversation to it to decide what to do. Because like I don't think I did that wrong, but like I was spending characters to complete things, and I would just pick whoever I had in my hand, whereas I think there would be more interesting decisions if you had all 4 different areas going down to the planet, stuff like that, versus 2 and debating about who to use and when to use them. But either way, both a lot of fun. And yeah, both of them do something different. So definitely, while they do compete against each other in terms of being big space games, I do think that there is room for both of them in a lot of people's collections. And I think that a lot of people will disagree with me and prefer ISS Vanguard to Stars of Ikarios. And a lot of people will agree with me, just because they do those slightly different things. Either way, both very good games, and I had a lot of fun here with ISS Vanguard. But with that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing, clicking that notification bell to know when I go live, and giving the video a thumbs up or leaving a comment. Let me know what you think of ISS Vanguard, or if you've watched both my ISS Vanguard and Stars of Ikarios, which one looks better to you? And if you want to see more content that I put out, like the article that I referenced, You can find the link for nerdologists.com down in the description of this video below. You'll find all sorts of nerdy articles there, a lot of them about board games, to be fair, but I do write about other things: manga, Marvel, movies, anime, TV shows, comics, really a wide variety of things. And if you like Marvel, which I mentioned, I do have a podcast as well, which I'll plug, 10-Minute Marvel. If you check out the latest podcasts, we are running a giveaway, so listen for that there. But with that, again, thank you so much for watching, and bottoms up.